Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interact's first Virtual Leadership Summit. My name is Bill Dendy, and I'll be with you today as your Interact chairperson to guide us through this wonderful virtual event. And yes, who would have thought that the face mask was going to be the fashion accessory of 2020? But we're here being properly socially distanced, and with me here today is our Interact District Governor, Miss Julia Lynn.
Well, of course, Leadership Summit typically would be in person, but we're doing it a little differently this year. We're doing it virtually, and we're so grateful that you are all able to be here with us in virtual land. First things first, want to say thank you to all the Rotarians who made this possible, especially the interactors as well. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for those who volunteered, and thank you for everyone who's come here to participate. And if you're not an interactor, we also thank you too.
Absolutely. And you know, we're being socially distant. I know y'all are too, but it feels like we're together. I see y'all online. I see the gallery picture view, and we've got coming up on 200 people with us today. This makes us a great event for District 5810. But because we are properly socially distanced, may I take the mask off at this point?
Yeah.
Can we? We shall. All right. So there you go. There's our happy smiles. And you know, there are some rules of engagement. I like what we're able to do when we all come together. Rotary and Interact is one of the most uplifting experiences in our regular lives. And as we come together in new ways virtually, facing the challenges of our new world, I know there are new things to learn. And part of that is, as we come together in our virtual meeting, there are certain ground rules. And I know we were playing the slides earlier, but Joy would like to tell us, what does it mean to be engaged, and what do we want from our participants at our meeting?
Yeah, so just two things that we mainly need. One, make sure to change your name to your first name, your last name, and the school you're from, or the Rotary Club you're part of, just so we know who's here. And second, make sure to keep your camera on so we can see that you're engaged.
Absolutely. And being engaged is going to be real important, not just so we can all see each other and we all feel like we're in this together, but also throughout today's event, we're going to have some great prizes and awards. We have gift cards from Dave & Buster's for free arcade play. We have free lunches at Cane's. Who doesn't like that chicken? We have main event arcade play. And we have a few other special awards like $25 gift certificates for Amazon shopping. So there are a lot of cool things that will be happening, and to get those cool things, you must be engaged. When we call out your name and see you, we have to be seeing your face, and that's when we're going to have like our kind of raffle of participants so that you get the benefits and some of the prizes that we have available today. I'm thrilled.
I'm excited too.
Now, I know a lot of y'all are already involved with Interact clubs, but some of you don't know Interact, and some of these folks are Rotarians, and some of the Rotarians aren't real familiar with Interact. Did you know about Interact when you were in grade school?
I did not. I actually found out about Interact my sophomore year of high school when a friend came back from Camp RYLA. Stay tuned to hear more about that. And that's how I found out about Interact, and it's been 3 years, and I've been involved since.
I love it. And how about Rotary? When did you first learn about Rotary?
The same time I got involved with Interact.
I know it's kind of amazing. Rotary does so much good in the world, but many people are not familiar with what Rotary really does. We see the signs as we go into small towns all over America. But what is Rotary? A lot of people just know it's a do-gooder organization, but they don't know that we can be involved in doing that good. And with that, I think we should start our first presentation. From Rotary International, we have a video on what is Interact. So for all of us, let's catch up and see what is Interact. Can we cue that video?
Take action, build international understanding, and make new friends around the world with Interact. Interact clubs bring together young people of all ages to develop leadership skills while discovering the power of service above self. With Interact clubs in over 145 countries and interactors growing daily, what's in it for me? Interact is your link to youth programs such as RYLA, Rotary Youth Exchange, Rotaract, scholarships. Discover new cultures and promote international understanding. Become a leader in your school and community, or have fun and make new friends from all around the world. What's involved? Interact clubs organize at least 2 projects every year. One that helps their school or community, and one that promotes international understanding. A Rotary Club in your district will sponsor, mentor, and guide interactors as they carry out projects and develop leadership skills. How do I join? Check with your school or contact a local Rotary Club to find out if there's an Interact Club in your area. Contact the Interact Club and find out how you can join its next meeting, service project, or community event. Take action, build international understanding, and make new friends around the world with Interact.
And that's what Interact is about. And it's been really exciting for me personally, as I know it's exciting for all of you Interactors who have been involved for the past couple of years. Probably some of my favorite parts of Interact is the fact that I got to have a voice and do good for the world, and Rotary provides resources for all that to happen.
And I love being involved with Rotary. And Rotary has got over 1.2 million members worldwide. And that world is divided into over 500 little districts. And, well, some are real large districts, but our district, North Texas, is comprised of about 60 Rotary clubs. And our district governor is John Moser, and he's here via video today to say welcome to all y'all. Let's cue up John Moser.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Moser. I am the District Governor of District 5810, and I would like to welcome everyone to the 2020 Interact Summit. Just a word about Rotary in District 5810 for all you Interactors. Rotary is the world's oldest and largest charity. It is an opportunity for us to serve others. People with a servant heart gather together to do what's right for everyone else. And you, the Interactors, are following in our lead. You have that service heart, and we thank every one of you for doing everything you can that you do. As you may or may not know, Rotary is in 135 countries worldwide. We have 28,000 clubs worldwide, 1.2 million Rotarians. 2,431 of those Rotarians reside right here in North Central Texas. We have 61 clubs. We do wonderful work in all kinds of areas. We do work including dental work locally. We do dental work internationally. We help dig water wells. We help build schools. We teach people to read. We do health care for indigent people, Meals on Wheels. We have more projects to help people locally and internationally than you can really believe. You are the nucleus of service. You are what service is all about. Everything you do is for your fellow man, for your fellow citizen, for the world. And we thank you for that. Remember, it's you doing service for mankind. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking your time, your afternoon, to join the Rotary Interact Summit for the year 2020. I hope you enjoy this afternoon, and I hope you continue with us in the future.
John, I love that enthusiasm presentation. We have so much good going on, and we're just a small piece of it. But what I really like in talking to the high school students that make up our Interact clubs is that most of us have a heart to give back. We want to do some good work, and having the structure to do it through Rotary or through Interact is phenomenal. But it's not just the giving back. We gain so much from our participation, and Interact for a high school student is the gateway to Rotary. Julia, tell us about a few of the other things that Interact opens the door for.
Well, one of them is Camp RYLA, which is an opportunity for rising juniors to apply and get some leadership training at an abroad kind of cabin. Now, typically RYLA is done in person, but because of, again, COVID, we're doing it virtually, called RYLA, and I have been personally a part of that. And shout out to everyone who is doing RYLA right now. Y'all are so inspiring, so kind, and you know how to keep the chat fun.
In addition to RYLA, we also have the Rotary Youth Exchange programs where we can actually go overseas. And we'll hear a little bit about that from Michael Pugh and Bianca. We also have Rotaract, which is Interact for college students, next level and continuing on. And we have scholarships and awards, things like the 4-way speech contest, things for our speech majors. And you do so much time with speech, 4-way speech contest, debate, wonderful ways to earn scholarships, but other clubs will provide actual college scholarships to Interactors who participate. And I think that it's a great time to learn a little bit more about these things. And one of the things that as Leadership Summit, we talk about leadership, but this is just a couple hours. We have a camp. We have several days just focused on making a lot of y'all better leaders. And you will have the opportunity to apply for this camp in just the next few months. But you need to know it exists. And so we have a little bit of information on RYLA. Please enjoy this video.
At Camp RYLA, they were like cheering and I had no idea what was going on, and they pulled me out of the car, we ran up, and then I got my bag, and then they like chased me down to my cabin. So it was very hectic, but it was a lot of fun.
I walked into my cabin. Immediately I knew I was gonna have fun this week. There were a bunch of guys smiling and laughing. They all greeted me. They all came up to me and shook my hand. You know, I came in thinking that a leader was always the guy that came up and was the loudest one or was the one in the front, things like that. But at Camp RYLA, I learned servant leadership. I learned leading from behind.
It will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
I loved the lectures. I thought they were so interesting, all of them, and I learned a great deal. These people were really enthusiastic, and they really know their stuff, and they're just great people all around.
The goal is not to change what your natural instinct is. The goal is to try to enhance that so you can connect better with a group.
Definitely one of my favorite activities that we did here was the challenge course. They related to leadership because there were different activities that each of us had different ideas for, different strengths that we could use. So we had to understand when it was our turn to step up to be a leader for a certain activity and when it was our turn to step back and follow whoever understood that activity the best.
1, 2, 3, right!
This is Saturday's paper, so on page 1, we're going to do activities.
Before I got here, I had no idea that it was going to be left up to us campers to help run the certain committees and organizations and some of the activities here. And that is a testament to how the campers here and the staff kind of help us step up and learn leadership by being leaders.
We keep our eyes where we're going. Let's stay strong. Today, we need to keep each other in check too. Here at Camp RYLA, you will always be doing something. Whether you're working with your team, or you're part of another committee, or you are just gonna go eat. No matter what, you will always stay busy, you will always be learning, and you will always be learning how to become a better leader.
There's so many ups and downs in this camp. It's just like a roller coaster of like so many highs, like where you're so like there's so much energy and positivity, and the lows are not negative, but they're a way for you to reflect on the things that you've done in your past, the things that you can get better on.
If it's your barrier and you were able to get rid of that fear of failing, imagine what would happen. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? It opens up a lot of doors.
I feel like for the first time in my life, like the real me is showing, and I feel so blessed to have gotten this experience.
It's kind of just like one big family here, which is crazy because like it's only a week, and most other camps it's just a weekend.
Camp RYLA is an absolutely amazing place that prepares young leaders, and it gives us the tools that we need to excel in leadership throughout our lives. We leave Camp RYLA with a whole toolbox full of new tools that we can use every day at school and home and in our communities.
As Camp RYLA comes to a close, this is the part of your journey that begins a new chapter in your life. You have entered into the greatest family you will probably ever know.
like so much fun. Now, I wasn't able to participate in RYLA this year, but RYLA has been a lot of fun so far. So Dana, could you tell us for a minute what is different about RYLA today?
Number one, just want to say, welcome to almost 200 individuals who are on the phone today, taking Saturday afternoon out to be here. I'm Dana Mickinson, actually the chairman, and the camp director, but chairman of the RYLA program. We started the RYLA program this coming summer will be 30 years ago, and we have had over 6,000 students that have been able to attend. Normally, we would have the program in late July, early August, and of course this year with all the scenarios that have went on for all of us, all the changes, we really had to back up and say, what can we do so that that group of students that were selected to go to camp in 2020 did not miss that opportunity. Just to bring you up to speed just a little bit, Camp RYLA is for juniors in high school, and many of the students that go, not all, but many of the students that go are actually interactors. So it's really just another level of leadership as we've already talked about, and also just another opportunity to really expand leadership skills, personal development, talking about breaking through barriers, thinking about college and careers, and just a number of things that we try to make available through RYLA, and then including talking about the additional things of scholarships and the other things that can possibly come after RYLA. So this year we were not able to do camp as we said. So we actually, our alumni decided that we needed to put together something called RYLEAD. RYLEAD stands for Rotary Youth Leadership, Education and Development, and it's really an opportunity to kind of have a virtual camp program. And I can see from the chat, there's a lot of you on the call today that have been part of RYLEAD. It is actually 6 modules. We're underway, getting ready for our second module, but it's 6 modules held between now and March of 2021, within the opportunity for us to hopefully get together for just maybe a one-day event with that group. And we have almost over 100 students that are going to be involved in that. One last thing I want to say as I see our MCs coming back is just to be aware that not only is RYLA such an important thing, but we have all these other ongoing programs that are connected to that. You come out of camp, we have something called Day 7, which is just another day to get together, and then the opportunity to have something called a Winter Summit, which is actually a program for our college-age students. So again, next year's camp 2021 is currently scheduled for August the 2nd through the 7th. That will be for juniors in high school. Make sure that's on your calendar. Starting about February, your Rotary clubs will start having all the applications. Anyone that's already gone to the program that's in your Interact club knows certainly how to make an application. You make an application, clubs select you, sponsor you. It is a scholarship program, and then we hope to kick that off in August 2nd of 2021. It's a long time from now, and obviously if we're not able to do that, we'll certainly be doing RYLEAD next year as another type of virtual. But we really want to see all of you that are juniors that have the opportunity to go to be there with us come August next year.
And Dr. Dana Mickinson has done a lot to build this program and to make it so good for the students. And RYLEAD, experimental, but man, it's good now.
It is. Getting some great speakers out there. Very inspiring.
In addition to RYLA, for those of you who are looking for a real life-changing experience abroad, we've got opportunities to study abroad as well. And I'm so grateful that we have Mr. Michael Pugh with us and Bianca to talk about our Rotary Youth Exchange, where we actually get to go and study in another country. Yeah, and that's included just by asking as an interactor.
I'm Michael Pugh. I'm the District 5810 Youth Exchange Officer, and we're going to tell you just a little bit about what Rotary Youth Exchange is. We have 2 different programs. It's a short-term program and a long-term program. Short-term program is 3 to 4 weeks where you're living with a family in another country, another culture, and you're speaking another language, which you may not know right now. And then you're going to come back with that student back to your home, back to your family, and you get to show them all the fun things that you can do here in Dallas. So then we have the long-term program. Long term is for an academic year. So you're going to leave somewhere in the September time frame. You're going to come back somewhere around the June time frame. So you're going to live with 2, maybe 3 families and be part of that family. You're going to learn a brand new culture, more than you could ever experience right now. You're going to learn a language. You may be so-so at French right now. When you come back, you will definitely be proficient. Put a little effort into it and you definitely will. You'll make lifetime friends, and this will be an experience that is unbelievable, that you can think of right now, and when you go forward, this will be fantastic. You will really enjoy it. If there's any information that you need, just contact me, and that information will be on the video here. Okay, I've been talking a little bit about Rotary Youth Exchange. Now I want to let you hear from someone who's actually done Rotary Youth Exchange. This is Bianca. She went to France, and Bianca, I'll let you take it from here.
Looking for an experience, coming back with more confidence, leaving your comfort zone, just like I did, do Rotary Youth Exchange. This changed my life completely, and never in my life I thought I would leave my senior year to go to France. This was one of the best experiences I've ever made in my entire life, and one of the best choices as well. The experience you will have abroad will be something that you will take forever, and no one can take this away from you. You're gonna have a great time during your exchange. However, there will be hard moments, such as the language. But that's not a problem. I took high school French in high school, and that was terrible. I didn't learn as much, but when I went abroad, you learn in literally 2 months. And I was so scared in leaving my friends, my high school experience. Like I said, no one is gonna take that away from you. The experience that you have there, you will remember for the rest of your life, and you'll need it in the future, especially for your language. It's helped me a lot, and I know it will help me a lot in the future. J'ai adoré mon expérience avec Rotary, et je crois que tu as besoin de faire le même que moi. And what I said in French was that my experience with Rotary was the best, and I think you should do the same as I did.
If you're interested in Rotary Youth Exchange, you can always get in contact with me through the Rotary Club or through the district website.
And of course, for students who have questions, feel free to ask Mike, and he'll give you all my information, and I'll answer all your questions.
C'est fantastique.
C'est fantastique. You're speaking French too. It's fantastic. And one of the good things is when one person gets the experience, we all kind of share in it. Short term or long term, what a wonderful thing. There are so many great opportunities available for all of us through Interact, and exchanges, scholarships, contests, fun, and I think probably the best is just time together. And so I'm glad we're all here together. And at this time, I'd like to turn this over to our man behind the scenes, Mr. Eamon Devlin, because he's going to select our first bonus award winners to give away a gift certificate to Dave & Buster's arcade games, as well as Cane's Fried Chicken. And Eamon, if you could... And for those of you who aren't aware, he can only select those who have their cameras on. So turn your cameras on if they're not on, even just for a second. And let's go to Eamon.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. Thank you for attending. I'd like to announce the 2 award winners right now. The first one is Emily Spielman from Waxahachie Global. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight her momentarily. Congrats. And the next person is Alex Johnson with Jesuit.
Alex Johnson? We have an Alex Johnson that works with our Interact group. That is amazing. All right, so are we back in here then live? Because it is time for us to get to our speakers. One of the reasons we gather together is to hear about leadership from those who have led and done well. And we have a great lineup of speakers, do we not today?
Yes, sir, we do.
What's the advantage of having a virtual session like this?
Well, it's the fact that typically people have their own lives and they're busy and whatnot, and they still are busy, but because everything is virtual, it's much easier to pre-record videos or have them here live, even if they're a million miles away.
And it's phenomenal. We have a gentleman who has been well-renowned within the academic community, who attended Harvard, who studies leadership and speaks to large companies about how does corporate leadership work best. And he'll be here to talk to us, and he lives in Hawaii. We also have Colonel Brian Searcy, who served in the military, in the Air Force, who has a background in military leadership, and he's applying that to organizations like ours as well as to corporations. But our first speaker that we have is homegrown, somebody right from here who grew up in Dallas, who attended RYLA as one of us, an interactor, who now lives in Washington, D.C. His name is Kevin, goes by Scooter, Kevin Scooter Ward. Great background. From Washington, D.C., has built up several technology companies and has done extraordinarily well. And with that, let's hear from Scooter Ward.
Howdy, my name is Scooter Ward. I'm a RYLA camper from 1994. I attended Camp RYLA in District 5810, and I'm excited to be presenting to you all for Interact today. I understand the nature of Interact and high school leadership and how it connects to the community, but also how it connects into college leadership and really forming what young leaders are for the next generation. I went to Richardson High School, graduated in 1995, and have been involved in RYLA ever since I was a participant in 1994. And what it really taught me is what it means to be a leader. And what I've learned is that leading is not about people doing what you say, but it's really about people modeling what you have done. Words mean things, but actions mean more. And that's why when someone tells us they're going to do something for us and they don't, we feel bad. Whereas when they live up to what they've said, we feel like they've done exactly what we expected them to do. And that's what we look at when we talk about leaders and we think about leaders. And as young leaders, I want you to focus on your words matching your actions and doing exactly what you say you're going to do. And knowing that as a leader, you're not always right. And sometimes folks will come to you and say, you know, I really don't agree with what you said, but I'm going to follow you because you have the passion, you have the interest, and you have the understanding that I believe in. But more than that, being a leader means being present. And what it means to be present is being there for them, but also understanding that you need to be there for yourself. And when you're there for yourself, you can show up for others. So many times as leaders, people expect us to give all of what we have and don't understand that if our cup isn't full, if we haven't filled ourselves up and understand what we need to provide, then we can't do anything for them. So understand that as a leader, you first need to be present and be there for yourself. Also understand that leadership requires all of you, not part of you. You must give your whole self in the service of leadership to others. You have to show that regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love, where you live, any of those things, that every single part of you is integral to being a good leader. Nobody thinks because you make straight A's or you're in all these different clubs or your resume looks great, that makes you a good leader. What makes you a good leader is what you do and how you build on the foundation of who you are and show others that you are a person of your word, you are a person of your action, and that you are dependable. And more than anything in this, understand that sometimes as a leader, you sit on an island. And it's something I call the island of leadership. And it's a lonely place because at times you're standing out there alone in order to do what is right and what you believe in and what you believe is the best for the organization, your family, the community, the school, or whatever you may be participating in. One thing I want to make sure you all know, leadership isn't about being right. Leadership is about getting it right. And I say all the time, and I say to my family, my son, my spouse, and everything, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to get it right. And sometimes getting it right means talking to 5 or 6 people and completely changing my mind on what we thought was the solution before. You see, I run a business. I run a business that in the past 5 years has grown 20 times what I ever thought it would be, and is about to be bought by a very large consulting firm. And so as I step into the next part of my life, I think about what the next version of leadership looks for me. And you talk about being on an island. When you have to start over and think about what really impacts the community, what really makes you move, what really fills up your cup, those are the things that you really need to focus on while you're in Interact. Is not just how do I execute this service project flawlessly, but how do I execute this service project in a way that makes a difference for the community and the people it is serving? Because if you're doing it just to check a box, people will know. If you're doing it just to make yourself feel better, people will know. If you're doing it just to get adulation and applause, people will know. So do it because your heart is in it. Do it because you believe in it, and do it because you know you can make a difference. We are born with a compass. Some people call it our conscience, other people call it the inner voice. I call it my internal compass. And there are people who throughout our lives and circumstances throughout our lives that will calibrate that compass and point us in the right direction over and over and over again. And we may want to push in a different direction, but sometimes that voice comes in as a whisper and says, you need to do this. And when we don't listen to the whisper, it becomes a yell, and we hear it and we see it, and it manifests in many different ways. So as a leader, make sure you listen to your compass, make sure you listen to that voice, and make sure that you heed the words and actions of those around you that you think are good leaders, that you see are good leaders, and who have manifest as good leaders. Lastly, I want you to understand that you have to be you. And this is something I say all the time. The you that you are is better than the you anybody wants you to be. As we spend more and more time wearing masks over our faces for personal protection, I ask that you take off the mask that you have on your face that you show to everyone every day. Be vulnerable enough as a leader to let people see the real you. Be ready to stand up and say, this is who I am. Be fervent enough to explain your positions, and be understanding enough to appreciate those who disagree with you. That's what defines a leader. That's what makes things happen. And so as you continue on your Interact journey, I say thank you for your service. I say bless you for your service. And I say Godspeed, God willing, thank you, and gig 'em.
Obviously an Aggie. I love that.
Wow, Scooter was quite amazing, really inspiring. And speaking of inspiring, our next speaker is also inspiring. He was featured in the New York Times, Washington Post, interviewed on NBC's Today Show, and we're gonna be introducing Kent Keith.
Hi, my name is Kent. I'd like to talk to you about leadership. I hope you'll be a specific kind of leader, a leader who makes life better for others. Don't worry, you don't have to be a big man or woman on campus. You don't have to have a title or position. All you have to do is pay attention to people and figure out what you and the members of your Interact Club can do to help them. There are lots of ideas about leadership. A common one is what I call the power model of leadership. It says that leadership's about getting power and making people do things. But there's a better model, and that's the service model of leadership. The service model says that leadership's about making a difference in the lives of others. People who live the service model are often called servant leaders. They live the Rotary motto, service above self. Servant leaders identify and meet the needs of others. So a servant leader does not ask, how can I get power? How can I make people do things? The servant leader asks, what do people need? How can I help them to get it? What does my organization need to do? How can I help my organization to do it? So rather than embarking on a quest for personal power, the servant leader embarks on a quest to identify and meet the needs of others. That's the mission of a servant leader, to identify and meet the needs of others. Servant leaders care about people and want to treat them right. This is where the Rotary four-way test fits so perfectly. The questions that Rotarians ask in the four-way test are the questions that servant leaders ask. They're not questions about power. They're questions about how we treat other people. Are we truthful with them? Are we being fair to them? Are we building good relationships with them? Are we sharing the benefits? Are we concerned that whatever we do will be beneficial to all concerned? Those are the right questions for servant leaders. When you identify and meet the needs of others, you make a difference in their lives, and that gives you meaning and joy in your life. It gives you the kind of meaning and joy you can't buy. It's the kind of meaning and joy that will keep you going even when times are tough. You'll know that you're helping others and their lives are better because you paid attention to them and helped them. And another thing, when you change lives for the better, there'll be a ripple effect. The people you help can have a positive impact on others, and they can have a positive impact on more people, and the ripple continues. You can leave a real legacy. You can have a lasting impact. And that's one of the great things about servant leaders. Yes, they can hold a position and have a title and they can have power, but they know that the whole purpose of their leadership is to have a positive impact. And if you want to have a positive, lasting impact on the world, you simply focus on others, not yourself. You don't need a position, title, or power to focus on others. You just have to decide to do it. So how do you do it? Well, there are a lot of key practices that make servant leaders effective. A really big thing for servant leaders is listening. If you want to identify the needs of others, it's really important to ask questions and then listen. You don't start with your own ideas, your own programs, or your own desires. Those can be important, but you don't start there. You start by listening to others. What do other people think? What are their wants and needs? What are their hopes and dreams? What is their situation? Servant leaders listen first. Listening first can take up time up front, but it can save a lot of time later. You listen first to make sure you understand the situation so that when you act, your actions are relevant. If you act quickly without listening, you may not understand the situation and you may end up wasting time and effort, or you may even do something harmful. Years ago, I had the pleasure of spending a couple of days with Dr. Ernesto Ciroli. Dr. Ciroli is one of the world's leading consultants on the topic of economic development. He helps communities to create jobs. Dr. Ciroli learned at an early age that if he wanted to help people, he had to be quiet and listen first. He tells the story about his first experience in Africa along the Zambezi River. He was 21 and he was working for an Italian non-governmental organization. They had been given a valley next to the river with rich soil and great potential. They went to teach the Zambians how to do agriculture. So they brought Italian seeds for tomatoes and zucchini, and they tried to get the Zambians to help plant them. The Zambians were not very interested in doing that, even when the Italians paid them. Well, the tomatoes grew beautifully, much larger than they grew in Italy. Then one night when the tomatoes were ripe and red, more than 200 hippos came out of the river and ate all of them. The Italians said to the Zambians, "The hippos!" And the Zambians said, "That is why we do no agriculture here." "Why didn't you tell us?" the Italians said. And the Zambians replied, "You never asked." That is when Dr. Ciroli decided to begin by asking and listening. Servant leaders listen in the broad sense. They do whatever they can to learn about the people they hope to serve. That can include one-on-one conversations, small group discussions, interaction on social media, surveys, and just watching what people do and listening to what they say. If you're good at listening, you'll be good at identifying needs. That means you will be in a great position to meet those needs. And when you do meet those needs, you will change lives for the better. That's how you help others' dreams come true. And that's one of the best things you can do with your life. Help other people's dreams come true. And if you dream of helping others, well, that's how your dream will come true also. There's plenty of empirical evidence that proves that servant leadership works. For example, servant leaders are good at leading teams. Groups led by servant leaders are more helpful and creative, more committed, and perform at higher levels. Research shows that in the business world, companies led by servant leaders are more successful. As servant leadership goes up, profits go up. So it's worth learning to be a servant leader. It will help you to be an effective leader for the rest of your life. But you know you don't have to wait. You know you can be effective as a servant leader right now. Your Interact Club is the perfect place for servant leadership. You and your Interact Club members make a difference in the lives of your fellow students, as well as the lives of people in the communities in which you live, and the lives of the new friends you make in other countries around the world. So get out there and make a difference.
Great advice. And we are all able to take those leadership roles and go forth and do some good work. And how inspiring was that to see that the companies that follow servant leadership actually do better than those who seem to be not following servant leadership? And oftentimes companies that are dedicated to doing good in their communities out-profit those who seem not to care. I love that.
I love it too. I think that it's a great show of how there are many different leadership styles and all can work.
And it's nice that we have with us next Colonel Brian Searcy, who was a squadron commander in the Air Force, who has now spent his career, or his second or third career, because he's been good at everything he's touched, showing other people how to do that leadership. He was in studios with us a while back, and we have a cut from an interview that he did for our Rotarians that we're going to share with our interactors.
With me today is a person that has been well received among the youth in our district. A person who came to our leadership training program with Interact and received great reviews. And then we discover what he is resonating with the young people applies to all people. Our guest today is Colonel Brian Searcy, who is with us to talk about true leadership. Brian, thank you for being with us.
Bill, thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Well, tell me, how does a guy get to be an expert in this area? Because you obviously got something special going on, but tell me about your background and how do you make this a full-time business?
Well, I have a lot of experience. I'm not sure we're ever really an expert, especially when you're talking about leadership. Leadership is an ongoing process. It's an ongoing practice. You're constantly learning, but you do develop quite a bit of experience, which in certain areas may lead to expertise, but the struggle is to transition leadership into actually leading and doing the verb. So I entered the Air Force in 1987 and over my 23-year career had an opportunity to lead at the squadron, the group, and the wing level. Along that way, I had great mentors that showed me and taught me how to lead. So it's not just reading books, it's not going to classes, it's not attending seminars, and then, thinking you know about leadership just because you've read a bunch of stuff. It's actually then taking it and putting it into practice. And like I said, I like to call it transitioning that leadership philosophy into the verb, which is actually leading and practicing that art of leadership.
How would you advise that person who is now in a leadership role, but they don't necessarily know the traditions or the history or the politics that are involved, but they want to be an effective leader?
It's kind of like the experience that we have when people talk about millennials and Generation Z, right? That they don't have necessarily the skills that we think that they should have because it's not the same as it was when we were 22, 25, 27 years old. But I believe that the Generation Z and the millennials that are out there today are some of the smartest people we've ever had in our country. Let's work with them the way that they need to work, and if they're missing some of the skills that they haven't adapted that we may have, let's educate them on that. But let's not put a label on them. Let's work with them to get them the necessary skills so that we can all be on the same page moving forward.
And some people say it's a servant leadership role. How does that fit in to the way you teach leadership?
No, it absolutely is a servant leadership role, and I agree with that 100%. The nice thing, if you execute the 2 up, 2 down rule, that means the lowest person in an organization should have pretty much the same information that I started out telling. Now, if you've ever been around a campfire and you start telling a story and it changes by the time you get around, that's going to happen. But if you do a good job with that communication down, then everybody in the organization really should understand. But to your point, and again, this was something that was, mentored to me, I didn't come up with this myself, is you should always do leadership by moving around, by walking around. So I would pick a day during a week and I would go walk the squadrons and I'd talk to the young airmen, I'd talk to the young NCOs, and I'd ask them questions about how they're doing, what's going on in the squadron, do they know what's going on in the wing, in the group, in the squadron. And I was really able to find out from those conversations if their leadership was actually following the rules, which then allowed me to potentially make some changes in how I was mentoring. Because that's one of the key things that's important as a leader as well, is that you have to understand that you're going to have, if you have 5 or 6 people that are working for you in your district, all 5 or 6 of those people are going to be totally different. So one management style, or one leadership style may not work for all of them. You may have somebody that's a little bit of an introvert, so you're going to talk to them a little bit differently than you would to somebody that is an extrovert. You have to pay attention to that as well, know what their personalities are like, and then use all the different tools in your toolbox as a leader to work with them to help them grow.
I think I'm hearing you say there's no one style of management that we should all be following. We should be following our own style of management, and even then, that style of management may need to be modified based on the people that we're working with and mentoring, because we have to respond to where they're coming from as well.
Absolutely. So how
do you ever teach all this?
Well, so I teach my leadership tenets, but then when I talk to people that work for me, as we're doing this mentorship process, I have them go through that same process I told you about. If I were to go in today to a leader of an organization, I'd ask them to write out their leadership philosophy. What do they think is important to them? So I would do the same thing with the people that work for me. And oftentimes, I was the first person that they ever worked for that actually had them do that. So that's a big part of the process. Now they're starting to establish their own philosophy. And what you'll see is there is a lot of commonality. There's some great tenets out there that have commonality across the spectrum. You know, treat other people the way that you would want to be treated. There's a lot of things that are common, but then we all, because we have different personalities, we have different perspectives, different experiences, we still have to choose what works for us and then how to turn that into actual leading.
I know that Rotary International talks all the time about how we need to bring in that next generation. We have to appeal to them somehow, but it's important to hear them and know that there may be some key differences. And as a leader, being able to communicate with different types of people, I think, is imperative. How do you do that? How do you learn how to communicate to the greatest generation, the baby boomers, the millennials, generation X's and Y's and whatnot?
Well, there's a couple things. So the first one goes back to one of the things I already mentioned, is that you have to be able to let them know that just because you have all this experience doesn't mean you have all the answers, and that you're open to hear what they have to say. Like I said, I would always, as a leader, tell on my people, don't ever let me tell you that we're not going to do something because it didn't work before. So they have great ideas. We need to allow those ideas to be brought in. It's always great to read, but it's also great to pay attention to other leaders, learn from other leaders, and understand that even if you were the past leader, when I left the wing, I could come back and look, and they may not be doing it the way I was doing it, but that's okay. They are now leading the way that they need to lead, but that doesn't mean that I don't necessarily have great advice to pass on. So they need to be willing to hear it, but we as people that have been there and done that, not fully hands off, but we have to understand that we're not in charge anymore. And, you know, there's a lot of ways to do the same thing. Just because it's not being done the way we would want it, it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Absolutely. If we're getting the effective results, you got to look to those results, even if it's done in a different way.
Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank y'all for being with us today.
Wow.
Those were 3 different views. Some things were similar, some things were a little bit different. But let's discuss them, because that's the most exciting part. You guys will be broken up into breakout rooms. You all have been randomly assigned. And just a couple of ground rules, as Brian Searcy had said, let's listen to each other. Let's share our experiences and our stories, thoughts, opinions, and make sure to not talk over each other. Here are a couple things that you might want to think about as you guys discuss in no particular order, and you don't have to answer all these questions. Think about, who do you recognize as a good leader? What qualities are common in leadership? How do you measure leadership? How is leadership developed? How do you support leaders in their roles? And what is your leadership style? We'll give you guys a 5-minute wrap up, but most importantly, make sure to come back on time because we'll have another flash award or a couple people can win something.
Wow, more prizes, but we have to be back on time. The nice thing about this Zoom meeting, Eamon, Devlin running things, it's going to go great because we don't have to push buttons. We will automatically be moved from this group to your own room, but it may take about a minute or two to get you in the room. Don't run off because you'll be live in your breakout room. And then make sure you're back here because as soon as we click back in, we're going to give out 2 more awards, Dave & Buster's Cane's Chicken. We'll see you back in about, exactly 30 minutes from now. Thank you much. had a lot of questions about some of the, I was looking at the chat rooms and questions came and answers didn't go. And so during the breakout session, we were able to look at some of the questions. And we had somebody asking on the youth exchange, can we go to South America? And the answer is yes. Several years ago, we hosted several students from Brazil, and it was way fun. I've hosted students from South Korea. We've hosted students from Japan. We've hosted students from Taiwan, as well as just about any place you can think of. Any place you want to go is good. And I love those summer exchanges. I mean, who wouldn't want to spend 3 weeks in like Switzerland?
London, Paris.
For a summer and have Rotarians host us and take care of us? It would be wonderful. At this point, all y'all had time to get back, stretch, and turn your cameras back on. Now, we talked about running a meeting. Running meetings are different.
A lot different, yeah.
And oftentimes the way interactors run meetings are different than the way Rotarians run meetings. And we have a quick little video that we put together last week talking about how do you run an Interact meeting and how do you do a virtual meeting. We should have paid attention to that. Let's roll that video. We seem to have a constant theme today, and that's doing the same things we've done before, but differently. And one of those things that's being done the same way as it was done before, but differently, is in the area of meetings. This very virtual meeting is a different way of doing things, but an interesting way of delivering it. But in our Rotary clubs, and in our Interact clubs, we're doing it virtually. How's it working for you guys, Julia?
Yeah, so for my Interact club, and I think that this is a great way to handle any Interact club, I recommend doing an Interact meeting once every 2 weeks because we understand that high school students are busy, and because of the virtual learning environment, it's very difficult to learn. And so therefore we want to make sure we give enough time for people to do tutoring and spend more time on homework. I recommend that each meeting is about 30 minutes. 10 minutes should be spent on club business, discussing any paperwork that might need to be done, as well as any events that might be coming up, and spending 20 minutes for an actual focus of the meeting, whether that be a speaker coming in to talk about a specific topic regarding leadership or an actual actionable service project that you can do at that moment.
In running any type of meeting, there are certain general rules that you want to abide by. You want to start on time, you want to finish on time, and you want to give actionable items. You also want to make sure you include everybody you can at the meeting. Get the reports from everyone that's included and get the feedback during the meeting.
It'd be helpful to have an agenda for the meeting itself to figure out who is speaking and what time they will be doing that, as well as a year-at-a-glance agenda, so that way people can know what will happen in the future.
Now, some clubs still do traditional meetings like Rotary clubs where they'll start with an invocation, a pledge of allegiance, then they'll have the president address the club, then they'll have an outside speaker, and they'll do club business.
However, you do not have to do that. Of course, Interact clubs are going to be a little bit shorter given the current time period, and so we want to spend more time focusing on service.
Make sure that we're keeping people engaged, that the cameras are on, but the cameras are on the people we want to see.
And on that note, make sure that if you are not speaking, you have your mics muted, so then that way everybody can focus on who is speaking.
You don't have to be an expert in Robert's Rules of Order. You just have to have an organized system where you allow people the chance to share their opinions and get the information out in such a way that we are able to fulfill our mission of having some fun as a social organization, but as well as doing some good work for our community and the world at large as a service organization.
A great app to keep your Interact Club updated is by using Remind. It's really simple and easy to use, and it gets information out quickly and efficiently.
Beautiful. I hope y'all have a great year running meetings both in person and virtually.
Good luck on all your Interact meetings this year. If I could be of service, please contact me as your Interact District Governor at qlin3@hotmail.com.
Yeah, a little work, a little luck, we'll have it made.
Yeah, part of that work is service projects, which, speaking of, our next speaker is the immediate past district governor, Beverly Grogan, who's had a lot of work within city government for her career. She's super inspirational, and I think we can all learn a little something from her service.
Hi, I am immediate past district governor Beverly Grogan, and I'm pleased to be at the summit with you once again this year. In not only Rotary, but throughout my career, I have worked with volunteers. As a leader, you'll find that you have to develop new skills to motivate and engage volunteers. There's no promise of pay or extra credit, a better grade, or even a better resume entry than to get better performance out of your volunteer team. You have to appeal on what the real reason is: to make the world a better place, to help others, to build our servant heart muscle. It's a workout like none other. It's not what is in it for them, and yet it is, because nothing feels better than to help one another. Help those who truly need help. And when they're paid back with a thank you, that's the best paycheck in the world. As leaders, you will need to communicate our purpose, gather teams of servant hearts, and that service will open opportunities for you. As leaders, you need to know what volunteers want to do. I had a guy who probably was my best volunteer ever when I worked at a city. And he said, "I'll do anything but golf. I find it boring." He did baseball games for me, farmers market, theater, concerts, whatever I needed as a volunteer. But one day, we had to do a survey at a golf course. And when I asked for help, he didn't volunteer. When I didn't have enough forces, I called him and I asked him to help. And he said, "Only if you need me." I waited a few days. I asked him again. And of course he said, "I will help." It is because he had a servant heart and agreed to serve, whether it was something he wanted to do or not. The good news of the story, the weather was beautiful. He saw a few friends that day, and he did enjoy his new day at the golf course. And so we expanded his horizons. If you as leader work for the volunteer to understand his or her role, what they like to do, then you will have helped the team and then in turn given service a boost. The volunteer who is well trained will be a volunteer for life. They will reap the benefits of that warm feeling we get when we help others. And that is a life lesson. And sometimes there are great benefits beyond that feel-good thing. When the cities of Arlington and Dallas hosted Major League Baseball All-Star Games, NCAA Final Four, and the Super Bowl, I served as a volunteer captain. Because of my experience, I was allowed in to see a Final Four game, attended some amazing Super Bowl parties at the stadium, and was actually admitted to the Super Bowl. So you can't predict those perks. So you meet someone who's helpful to your career. Meet someone from the college of your dreams. Someone who has game day tickets for you. You never know. But that's not why you volunteered. You volunteered to help others. But in that case, there is something tangible in return. So recruit well. Look for those with the desire to help, no matter what, who want to serve. Tell them their purpose, and then thank them. Volunteers can never be taken for granted. Let them know it couldn't be done without them. Let them know you need them again and that you're counting on them. Then your job will be done, others will be served, and we will all line up again to serve once more, because there is always more to be done.
Wow, service is really great, whether it be individually or in a group. And on occasion, our entire district will come together to do one giant service project. I'm happy to introduce our next video, which will be introducing our shoe drive. And stay tuned for the End of Leadership Summit, where we will introduce the top 3 clubs that collected the most shoes.
Thus far.
Thus far. For the past couple months, the district has been collecting shoes to donate internationally to micro enterprises, with proceeds going to invest in a North Texas low-income community. It's been a really exciting couple of months, with us collecting over 700 shoes. Even though the deadline was Leadership Summit today on September 26th, this project lasts until October 31st, so you can still participate. It's really simple. First, clean your closets. Second, contact your Rotary Club and establish a drop-off location where both you and your Rotary Club can donate shoes. Finally, prior to October 31st, have your Rotary Club or your Interact Club take all the shoes that you collected from your drop-off location and drop it off at 3309 North Central Expressway, Suite 370 in Plano, Texas. See the address here. Thank you to everyone who participated. We really couldn't have done it without you, and the district is so proud to have collected so many shoes and helped people internationally and locally, even though we're in COVID.
What a great project. Clean out my closet and help the world. I love it. And service is a big deal, and Interact and Rotary pride themselves on doing a lot of good work locally and internationally. And Rotary International, they will recognize Interact clubs that are above and beyond and are superior at doing this work. And last year, Julia, did your club receive a Rotary International Presidential Citation?
Yes, we did, as in many clubs, and we got a platinum. And I'm
Wait a minute. You didn't just get one, but you got one with what?
A platinum, the highest one.
Platinum distinction. And that's phenomenal. How did your club get that? I mean, I know so many clubs in our district probably have done work, but they don't always get the recognition to which they're entitled. What do you have to do that?
So kind of like how you mentioned, honestly, you don't really need to organize much to get that citation. I think most times if your Interact Club is really active, you'll just kind of along the way pick up all those requirements, and by the end of the year you'll pick up that list and be like, oh, I already did all that. So all you have to do is locate what events you had to do for each of those presidential citation requirements, send them to your Rotary Club, and they'll submit a form to sponsor it.
Great. Do we have a list of those presidential citation requirements that we could share with everybody real fast? And Julia, what are those goals today? Because I can't read that screen from all the way over here.
Yes, so actually on the next page of it, there will be a chart, and it's looking a little different this year. There are 20 requirements, or 20 options of requirements. You only have to complete 11 out of those. And if you glance at all of them, I believe there's also another page for it. They're all really easy to accomplish. You can talk to your Rotary Club to help. And again, most of these things you just pick up along the way. And by doing Leadership Summit, you already complete like 5 requirements. So if you ever need help with the Rotary citation, please email me at qlin3@hotmail.com. Again, QLIN3@hotmail.com. And I can help you out with that.
Fantastic. I love it. And we do so much good work. For years, working with interactors, I have been amazed as we, at the end of the year, at the spring fling, gather up what all has been done and share pictures with each other of what we've done. Now, I know last year, the year kind of petered out with that COVID-19. We go home for spring break. We didn't come back, did we?
No, we didn't.
And then even starting this year, it's been a slow start. But I love this next video where we share some of the great work that's been done by our interactors last year, and it's amazing.
My name is Sharon Thomas, and I'm Interact President at Allen High School. My favorite service project was one we did back in October 2019 for Kids Against Hunger. It is my favorite project because we not only got to come together as a community and do something bigger than ourselves, but we also helped many kids worldwide against hunger.
Hi, my name is Pahul, and I go to Lovejoy High School, where I'm the president of Lovejoy High School's Interact Club. A really meaningful service project that I've been able to complete this year is a project called Threads for COVID. Threads for COVID is a nonprofit started by me and a few club members in Interact dedicated to helping those affected by COVID. In the nonprofit, we specialize in creating handcrafted goods such as threaded bracelets, beaded bracelets, chokers, rings, keychains, anything of the like. We advertise our goods to the Lovejoy community, and thus far we've been able to gain more than $500 in merchandise sales, all of which has been donated to the WHO. This project couldn't have been done without the help of my club members and my interactors at Lovejoy. Our team is comprised of 10 gorgeous ladies, as well as myself, and while they were once strangers to me in the club, they've now become some of my closest friends. As we've learned to band together and create something for a common cause, We've learned that we all have similarities and differences that all make us really, really special. And without them and this experience, I don't think I would have been able to really learn key lessons about leadership, of empathy, and of delegation. And I really couldn't have done it without them.
Hello, my name is Swaychokin Tamakala, and I am the former president of the Frisco Interact Club. One of my favorite service projects that we did last year was probably our Second Chance Prom. And with this event, we were able to go in and decorate a room in a memory care facility and bring in student musicians and members from our club to hold a dance for the residents who lived there. I personally thought it was a great experience because a lot of club members we all worked together in order to create something really special and create really meaningful interactions with these residents who didn't really get things like this that often. And in the end, I just thought it was really rewarding to see everyone's faces light up when they heard the music or saw what we had in store for them.
We all know that we're in different times now. It's no secret that COVID-19 has affected everyone. COVID-19 really put a stop to our Six Flags fundraiser, our Spring Fling event, and our internship program.
We haven't had an international trip in years, and we decided this year that we would go to Malawi in Africa.
We were going to work with the Rant charities to support girls' education in Malawi, as well as build water wells.
Although we didn't make the trip, we achieved our main goal in supporting the girls with their education.
This was a great year, and I can't wait for more years to come with strong Interact governors and strong leadership.
Strong leadership, strong service. You know, we put together some quick ideas of how in this new world and the new way of doing things, we can still do service work. Julia, that was great information from all the projects that were done last year, and we had so many wonderful things done, but things are different this year, aren't they? This COVID-19 has made it kind of a special challenge.
That's definitely true. There are a lot of challenges, but we do have some virtual service projects and COVID-safe projects that you can do from the comfort of your own home.
Fantastic. And I know that this challenging time has forced a lot of people to adapt to new things, and these new things have actually found us some new service projects that are truly beneficial. Julia, why don't you tell us about a few of them?
Definitely. So one that you can do is actually teaching kids online right here in Dallas, Texas. There is an organization called McShan Reading Home where you can contact and ask to tutor refugee kids English. And that will be definitely beneficial because the education gap in COVID is especially terrible right now.
Oh my goodness, Julia, my wife would love that. Our daughter is 7 years old and mom is now the primary educator. And it would be so nice to have somebody show up to do a little reading. And you know that's got to be especially important for those who have English as a second language. What a gift of the heart, and what a great big thing that we can do for people right here. And I guess if we can do it right here, we can do it anywhere because this teaching is virtual, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. And another thing that you can actually teach, if you're not the biggest fan of kids, is to teach senior homes. So actually, if you're very talented in music, dance, art, you can record virtual performances and send those to senior homes for them to be entertained and learn a little something new about you.
And so for those who have a heart to entertain others through theater, through music, virtual concerts or virtual productions are wonderful and great service projects that require us to get together and to create this experience for them, and it lets people know that we think about them.
And that's not all. We can also help the community by doing socially distanced cleanups. Wear your masks 6 feet apart, but you can clean a highway or clean a park or any public area for that matter to help and make sure that our environment is nice and clean.
I know within our district, we had a club that cleaned up White Rock Lake several years ago. And what a great service project to share with our high school students and our Rotarians as well, to get out there and clean up the lake, clean up the park. And you can certainly do that 6 feet away. And some of this, I'd like to be 6 feet away from some of this work, but it's a great project.
If you're not comfortable with being around a lot of people, you can also do any form of item drive. Funds are really low given COVID, but the need of the community is not going down. So collecting anything regarding books, maybe for children, school supplies, or anything to help other people is also a great and easy service project that's also COVID safe.
We've had several clubs in the past do food drives, and the students would go door to door and hang a flyer saying, I'm going to come by and pick up cans next Tuesday. If you have anything in your pantry that you could donate for our local food bank in need, just leave it on the front porch and I'll pick it up next Tuesday or next Thursday or whatever that date is. And this is such a great project because the food banks are definitely in need, and it's a project that you can do in your spare time, socially distant.
And don't forget, the shoe drive is not ending today. You can still do this until October 31st, and it's run the exact same way.
So as we can see, although COVID-19 has presented some special challenges, we have some new ways of interacting and serving our community here and our community worldwide. The needs are still present, and there's still a whole lot we can do to help our community.
So let's get together for our next breakout session and discuss what we can do in the future. Wow, that was a lot, and there's a lot we can still do, so let's discuss it.
Absolutely. And we talked about when we have a meeting, we want to start them on time, we're going to finish them on time. So I'm going to tell y'all, to get to this next section and get us back on time, breakout session's only going to be 15 minutes. 15 minutes to get broken out, discuss service projects that you've liked in the past, discuss what y'all might want to do in the future, and then do a quick little video, because you all saw how impactful those videos were when people talked about what they did and what they liked. I'd like everyone to make a video. We'd like to have a montage of 100 videos when this whole thing is said, and all y'all be stars. So I'll see you back for another award in 15 minutes. my gosh, my phone is blowing up. Look at that. Oh, who gave my number? Oh my goodness. I'm joking. I'm thrilled. This is going to be very good.
It is.
And look at all these service projects that have been done.
Mm-hmm.
And service projects, I guess we're doing all over the world.
Definitely. Speaking of, we were going to do a service project, of course, last year, but COVID came in. But, you know, last year I really wanted to help with the Malawi trip. It's kind of a sad story, but, you know, a lot of girls in Malawi, you know, they aren't able to afford the education for high school. And a lot of us here in America, we're very privileged to have that education. But thankfully, we are able to help all those girls in Malawi. It only costs $450 to support one girl, and we have been very adamant in helping those girls and making sure that they are educated.
I think it's wonderful. I mean, we're like, I don't want to go to school. And they're like, can I please go and at least get my high school education? And for $450, that is room and board, because most of them have to leave their village to go to school because they don't have a local high school. So I think it's wonderful work that we do. And, you know, we talk about international service work. I've been privileged to take groups to Malawi, Africa. We went in 2016 and again in 2018. And our district has been going to Malawi for a long time. And the picture here is a group of young women that we supported as a district. And this is 4 years ago. And most of them have graduated since then. The Rotary clubs in Canada support a school in Malawi, and the work has been phenomenal because it makes a giant difference to have an education versus not having an education. And in Malawi, a high school education is like beyond a college degree here. So it does make a world of difference. But that's not the only place we've gone with our interactors. Historically, we've taken interactors to places like Honduras. Oh, this is a fun picture. Cuba, Venezuela. We have wonderful travel events where we go and do a little work, but as you can see, they go and have a whole lot of fun too. We've done medical missions. We take supplies where they're necessary. We do park cleanup and other physical labor, and we work side by side with other students from these other countries. I love our ability to get out there and do a lot of good work. And I hope that it won't be long before people are willing to get up and travel again, see the world, visit these places that other people go as tourists, but we'll go and be friends with the people there and do a little bit of good work when we get there. I like it. I like it so much. So stay tuned. I hope this COVID vaccine comes and we all start traveling again real soon. But the needs have not gone away. In fact, the needs may be greater now than ever before. Now, all the service, the pictures tell a story. A lot of us learn a whole lot better with pictures. And Rotary International is encouraging those of us who are involved in Rotary and those of us involved in Interact to tell our story with pictures and video. And I'm so thrilled to share with you last year's, when Rotary International did a call for students to create a student video. This is the Rotary International English-speaking Student Video Award winner. Let's roll that video.
This is us, Richview Interact Club. Many of us joined this club because we were interested in their events, as well as their offer for volunteer hours. In the end, we stayed for the cause.
Please don't litter, guys. Please don't. Don't litter. Pick up your trash. Pick up after yourself.
And the event just brings everyone so close together. Like, you're writing back to 500 kids, and they're all handwritten.
In making a difference, we seek change, seek effort, seek belonging. And last but not least, we provide the best service for those in need.
Saving the planet, whoa!
We aspire to leave this club knowing that we made a difference, that we did good, while also having fun. This is us.
That was an amazing video, and our district is also going to be participating in this award internationally this year. So far, we have 2 videos, and we'd like to take a look at them right now. So first presenting, Frisco.
I'm Grant Thomas.
And I'm Olivia Thomas.
And we're members from the Frisco Interact Club. 2 of our favorite service projects we did last year were whenever members of Interact made holiday cards for residents of hospitals, as well as when we decorated the Rotary float for the Frisco Community Parade. Both of these service projects got all members involved collaborating with one another to make a difference.
Hi, my name is Lavanya, and a leadership project that we did last year was building the float for the Frisco Parade, and it involved every single team member as they came together and worked together in order to build the float, and every team member had to take initiative in building their part of the float.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and I've been part of Rotary since last year. So last year was my sophomore year. So I've been in it in sophomore year, and I'm really excited to continue Rotary in junior year. Last year, although we, because of the pandemic, our year kind of got cut off short, we still had so many amazing service projects and activities that we did. So for me, my favorite one was definitely building the float for the Veterans Parade. I just really enjoyed being part of that team effort. It was but I've never built a float before, so that was really a good experience, but also just working together in a team and like the accomplishment that we felt, when like we were praised for the float, and we even like won the Grand Marshal's Award, I'm pretty sure. So it was just really rewarding, and it was just such a great experience to build that float for Rotary. And yeah, so that was definitely hands down my favorite service project, especially going through the parade. We were on the floats and stuff. I was actually riding on the float, and we got to see all the kids who were so excited. They were just so excited to see us and have candy and stuff. So that was just such a rewarding experience. Also, another service project that I really enjoyed was actually the book drive. I don't know, there was just something really comforting about like packaging up all these books, seeing all these books that other people had used or like bought, and just like being able to like knowing that they were gonna go to people who were in need, people who would make such a good use out of them. That was just something that like resonated so much with me, that feeling. And so yeah, that was also just such a fun experience. Like it was fun like while doing, but also it was so rewarding after to be like, yeah, I packaged books, all these kids who are in need are gonna get it, it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I had a lot of fun that day too, like just with my friends and all, like packaging books and stuff. But yeah, overall, I think what really resonated with me was thinking about where they were going and how they were gonna help other people. Here's a video from when we built the floats for the Veterans Day Fair.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you, Frisco. So proud of you. But I'm also proud of my Interact Club, Plano Senior High School. So here's our video.
My closet is a disaster, so I totally need to get rid of some stuff to donate, so let's do it together. These shoes would literally be perfect for the shoe drive. I'm gonna hand them off.
I don't want them. Pass them to Ida.
Thank you. Here you go, Caitlin. Donate shoes for someone in need.
I don't want them. Give them to Sarah.
Shoes? I don't really need shoes, so I'll pass them on to someone else. Here you go.
Thanks, Sarah. I guess I'm the last person. Time to send it off to the shoe organizing. President of Plano Senior Interact. First, I want to preface this by saying a huge thank you to everyone who was involved in this project, whether it be our team members, our office board members, our Rotary Club, Plano West Rotary Club, shout out to them, as well as anybody in the district who helped organize this project. All shoes will go internationally to micro enterprises in developing nations, and proceeds will help a North Texas low-income community. Plano Senior Interact was so excited to be a part of such a project, and we're grateful that the district was able to provide such a service project, especially in the given times today. Funds are decreasing and our ability to do physical volunteer work has limited, but the needs of the community are not going down. We are grateful that we were able to participate in not only a local service project, but one that is international, all while helping ourselves by cleaning our own closets. If anything, we achieved the ultimate service project by doing the triple whammy of helping ourselves, helping our local community, and helping someone internationally. Of course, this can't just be a thank you to the Plano Senior Interact Club. This is a thank you to every single Interact Club that participated in this project throughout the district. Each Interact Club is physically distanced by more than just 6 feet, but through this project, we were all united under one goal. The Plano Senior Interact Club participated in 2 of the shoe baggings that were offered bi-weekly prior to Leadership Summit, and at one of them, we were able to meet Plano West Senior Interact Club kids as well as Capel Interact kids. As you saw in those pictures, we had a lot of fun meeting new people and organizing shoes, and that's all we can ask for in this time when everything is a little more dull. I think the beauty of Interact is that we try to bring light to everyone's lives, whether it be someone we know or a stranger or someone across the world. And this project definitely achieved all of those goals, and we're so grateful to be a part of District 5810. Go Interact!
Go Interact!
Go Interact!
Go Interact!
Go Interact!
Let's go! I love it. Good job, Julia. Good job, all y'all. And I hope that this is just the first 2 videos that our district will put out to the RI International Competition. There is a theme, and the theme this year, Julia, is what?
It's to share a club project or a leadership training that your club did.
Fun, and I like some of the clips and the way y'all did the cinematography. That was really good. And I know the challenge was, let's try to get 100 pairs per Rotary Club or 100 pairs per Interact Club. One student was able to collect how many?
Like 150 pairs just from like his community and himself too.
I thought you said just from his own closet, and I was going to be a little frightened about that. And beyond that, we have an award today for the school with the most attendees. We have over 200 people here virtually right now today. But the cool thing about a virtual meeting, things we have been able to do in the past, is this is recorded for the schools that are getting up and started. Those who might not be getting together for another week or 2, they can come back and pull the best parts out of this. And all y'all can share the videos that we put together. They will be available on the district website. So if you want to see Scooter talk again, or if you want to see Colonel Searcy talk again, or if you want to see me talk again, they don't want to see that, do they? But you could, if you wanted to, by going to our district website. So I love that. But the school, the high school with the most attendees is, Eamon, what'd you say? Allen High School with 25 attendees online right now. And Melissa, we saw all y'all out there. I mean, so many schools had great attendance today. And for Allen High School, the award is going to be $200 to go to the project or the charity of your choice. So as y'all get together and you plan your projects, there's $200 from the district to help out. I know we've talked a lot about participation, the shoe drive. Is there anything left on our agenda that we have to cover today?
I think we're good.
What time is it?
You have 30 seconds.
We've got 30 seconds to go, and with that last 30 seconds, I'm going to say we're going to do we just did the Flash Awards. We're going to send out evaluations. We have 4 $25 gift cards to Amazon, and we'll randomly select them next month for those who complete the evaluations. And we will try to get us all together again, because we can do this again. We don't just have to do one leadership summit, because virtually we can get together. And I promise next time it's only going to be like 30 minutes. But we should be getting together to share our successes with each other. We have a lot of people to thank today. Who else should we be thanking, Julia?
Yeah, so of course the interactors, y'all are making up a good majority of our participants participants. Thank you guys to the volunteers who helped plan this, as well as just people who are participating. If you're not an interactor, also a big thank you for taking some time in your Saturday. Definitely our Rotarians, y'all do so much to support our Interact clubs, and you're doing a great job continuing to do that throughout the year.
And we all should be thanking our faculty advisors, our teachers who work with the schools that take the time out to make this club work, because we all have to have a faculty advisor, and they give so much of themselves all the time. Rotarians, thank those faculty advisors. And for those of y'all who are on, thank you, thank you, thank you. We also need to thank Jeff Crilly, who made this studio possible. I mean, what a wonderful way to do a Zoom meeting. A whole lot more interesting. And thank you to our staff back here. Can y'all cut to the staff here? We got Josh Hart, who gave up his Saturday away from his little 3-year-old to be with us. We have Mr. Chris Lavario. We have Eamon Devlin. And Chris has got all the family over doing barbecue. So we got a whole lot of people who've given a whole lot over the last several weeks to make this possible. And I'm thrilled to have been able to serve the Rotarians and the interactors of our area. This is one of the greatest joys that anyone can have, and that is working with motivated, great people like all y'all. Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
It has.
Thank you, Bill.
God bless you.
Bye.